They're making a huge mistake. After the recent back and forth from sophomore center Kel'el Ware and head coach Erik Spoelstra, it feels like this Miami Heat organization could be on the verge of sending the star center out the door via trade. I'm here to break down whether or not this would be a good decision for this Heat team and what teams they would even consider trading him to. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, do remember this video is brought to you by Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the US. And if you scroll down to the description and click on the link and use code DIGEST when signing up, you will get $20 back after you trade your first 100. It's the perfect time to get on Kalshi as the national championship takes place tonight. If you guys don't know, the University of Miami has gone against all odds and made it to a home game in the national championship. Crazy how that works. And they will be playing a team who is looking to solidify themselves as the greatest college football team of all time in the Indiana Hoosiers. It will be absolute cinema. And if you are not a fan of college football and you still are from the Miami area, it will be awesome to watch, as this is Miami trying to get back onto the mountaintop as they once were in the early 2000s. And again, if that is not your cup of tea, the Miami Heat play basketball tonight against Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors. And again, on Kalshi, you can trade props, you can trade game lines, you can trade absolutely anything. So again, go check out Kalshi using the link down in the description and use code DIGEST NBA to get $20 back when you trade your first 100. Thank you guys, but now let's get to it and break down, should Miami move on from Kel'el Ware? I'm going to sit here and make this very brief. Absolutely not. And here's my reason being. I understand the back and forth. And if you guys don't know what I'm alluding to when I say that, between head coach Erik Spoelstra and Kel'el Ware, please go back and watch either my videos or Marcel Martin's videos for over the last few days, as we've broken it all down ad nauseum, because it's just been update after update. Spoelstra says something, it comes off very, very harsh, like harsher than we've seen in the past, especially when calling out Kel'el Ware, because this is not a relatively new thing. But then Ware bounces back and kind of strikes back at Spoelstra, again, not being vulgar, but he's very blunt, he's to the point, he's very honest about his response, and in his response, I should say. And then Spos comes out and he makes another comment on Kel'el Ware, and he kind of redacts what he said originally because how harsh it came off of. And again, we are now right back to where we were. Spoelstra calls out Kel'el Ware. Kel'el Ware stands up for himself, as well as a lot of the media. And then Erik Spoelstra comes out and he kind of takes back a little bit of it, but the idea remains the same. He needs to see more good play out of Kel'el Ware in order to get these minutes he's asking about, and again, being called out for in the same hand. It's very intriguing because they have such a lucrative piece of the team sitting here, and it's just a very interesting spot they're sitting in the sense that, yes, he doesn't play all that often. In the game that started all of this new drama between Kel'el Ware and this Heat organization, and specifically Erik Spoelstra, was due to the fact that he didn't play a single minute in the second half to a Boston Celtics team who the Miami Heat were winning against and leading the game against the entire first half. And yes, Kel'el Ware did play. He did not play in the second half, and that is when Boston was able to take a lead and never give it back up, and they ended up winning the game. It was a bad loss for the Miami Heat. They were dominating, especially early in that game, in the first quarter. They were up, I think, 20, 25 points. Second quarter was a different story. Third and fourth quarter were even more different than that. I believe the final was 114 to 119. And overall, just an ugly game, in an ugly second half, we will say, for this Miami Heat organization. So who is Kel'el Ware, and why would they trade him, and what value does he have? Well, Ware is averaging 11.5 points, basically 10 rebounds, a block per game, just under a 1 steal per game as well. And again, he's averaging 23.9 minutes. We'll call it 24 just for sake. And he's shooting 53% from the field, including 41.7% from behind the three-point line. He is a 7-foot, and a legit 7-foot center for this Miami Heat organization in just his second year out of the University of Indiana. Kind of funny how that works out. But the idea is the same. He is only a young man. He's 21 years of age. He's only been in the league for now a year and 3 months, 4 months, not even a full year and a half yet in the sense of actual season terms. And if you look at his per 36 minutes or per 36 stats, or as well as the per 100 possession stats, especially for this year, they're phenomenal. Obviously, you have to take into account that those are stats based off of 100 possessions played or based off of 36 minutes played per game, which Kel'el Ware is not surpassing. And for obvious reason, there's a lot of depth on this Miami Heat team, and to request and demand someone like Kel'el Ware, who is still very, very young into his career, to play that much or nightly or daily, however it may break down to, would be a bit much, unless he was out there giving you 30 and 10 or 30 and 15, I should say. Now, the idea of trading him, and this is where the conversation really begins. These are his last handful of games. 6 games, I believe. Last 6 games for Kel'el Ware have not been great. 7-9 with 1 steal, 3-5, 10-5 with a steal, 8-1-1, 2-3, 7-11 with 2 assists. Not the greatest look for Kel'el Ware. But let's understand some things. First of all, Bam Adebayo has been playing out of his mind for the last 3 games, giving the Miami Heat 20, 25, and 30 in each of those games. Phenomenal. If you look at Kel'el Ware before these last 6 games, look at some of these stats. And we broke down the bottom 3 in the last video that I was on Heat Digest. 22-12 with 4 blocks, 24-14 with 6 made threes, 28-19 on 73% shooting. He had a 5-9 game with 2 steals. Not great, not to say it was. 16-13 with a steal, 15-7 with 3 assists, 19-9 with a steal. He has the capability and the versatility to go out there and flat out dominate on the basketball court. And if there can be a way where he can find consistent minutes playing alongside Bam Adebayo on the floor at the same time, I don't know how any team would be able to stop that pairing, especially if we are getting a version of Bam Adebayo that we've seen over the last weekends or so, in the last 3 games specifically, as offensively he has finally turned a corner. He's starting to look like the Bam Adebayo everyone has been wishing to see. Now, if they do decide to trade Kel'el Ware, it would be an extremely valuable trade piece. Like, we're talking the centerpiece to a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, and I'm not kidding. Kel'el Ware is only 21. He has another 2 years on his, actually has another 3 years, because he is a restricted free agent following the next 2 seasons. So you have this year of contract, next year is a club option, which has been picked up at a $4 million price tag. Absurdly cheap, and it comes with the fact that he's on a rookie deal, obviously, but then you have a club option, so it's up to the club that he's a part of to then accept or decline that option for Kel'el Ware. If they decline it, he would become a free agent. If they accept it, he would then come back to that organization or club. And then that final year, that 2028-2029 season, when Kel'el Ware is only 24 years of age, he's a restricted free agent, which means the team that he's associated with, I believe, has first dibs at him and the ability to go out and attempt to sign him. He has so much value in the sense of the financial aspect of things. But then you look at the overall production. Yes, we mentioned these games earlier, and really just the progression from year after year. And take into account these are per 36 and per 100 possession stats. But then you look at the overall numbers. He's playing 24 minutes, but he's playing alongside other big men like Bam Adebayo, and a bunch of other very, very talented, not only offensive talent, but also just athletes all over the court in Pelle Larsson and Bam Adebayo and Andrew Wiggins and Norman Powell and Devion Mitchell. These guys are doing a lot of different aspects in the game of basketball, and it takes away some of the demand from Kel'el Ware. Now, as he continues to grow, I could see how Ware could legitimately become a bigger piece than Bam Adebayo has been over the last 3 games, in the sense where he's legitimately averaging anywhere from 22 to 28 points per game and 11 to 15 rebounds. And that's why I think this would be a horrible idea to trade such an early piece, or trade a piece at such an early age, because once you do it, there's no telling that he's not going to walk into the Los Angeles Lakers or their Golden State Warriors organization and flat out dominate, because they are given the keys to success. If you want to go back a little bit and give some perspective, Miami Heat were involved in trade talks involving Kel'el Ware back when Kevin Durant was available and a lot of Heat Nation was split. Do they trade Kel'el Ware for Kevin Durant? Do you want the older veteran piece that's going to be able to come in and, yes, score at will, but how great is the defense? How long is he actually going to play at a high level because of the age? Odds are they probably should have done it because Kevin Durant is just balling out again right now in Houston, and he is leading the way for the Rockets. But dating back to this graphic when Shams was on the Pat McAfee show, the idea was that Kel'el Ware would have to be involved in some type of trade, or they'd have to give up a monster combination of like Haquez, Jovic, Highsmith, a pick, and then another pick swap, or they could have given up Ware and like one or two other pieces, and they would have got the job done. It's interesting to see where things go now, but if Miami does decide to move him, teams like the Los Angeles Lakers, teams like the Golden State Warriors could very much be involved in these trade conversations, and the overall value for Kel'el Ware should be absolutely tremendous. Let me know down below, would you trade Kel'el Ware depending on that trade value, and do you think it would be a smart decision to move off of him now, or do you want to take the chance and see him in a Heat jersey for the foreseeable future? Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one.